Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching the Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm doing the book reader problems tag which I found on a book blog. I'll leave the link for the blog post in the description. Please do go forward and check it out, it was really fun. And I'll also leave all the questions from the tag in the description so that you can leave your answers in the comments. So without any further ado, let's get into the questions right away. Question number 1. You have 20,000 books in your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? I usually go with my gut and decide what to read from my shelf always, and I think I'll do the same thing for this one also because the TBR pile always keeps on increasing and it does not come down in size at all. So it doesn't matter whether there are 20 books or 20,000 books. I'll just look at the books and whichever calls to me during that instant, I'll just usually pick up that book and read. That's how I also do my monthly TBR videos. So probably I'll just follow that same method and pick up any book that calls to me and just grab it and start reading. Question number 2. You are halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you put it down or are you committed? I'll say that I'll temporarily DNF the book, okay? It depends usually on the size of the book and how much I'm interested in reading it. For example, if it's just a 200-page book and I've read 100 pages of it and still I'm not hooked, I'll just go forward and read the other 100 pages also because it's a very short book and some things might happen even in the second half that might interest me and it might even turn out to be a really good book. But if it is a huge book like 500 or 600 pages in length and I'm not hooked with that even after 100 pages, I'll usually temporarily DNF the book and not read it for at least the following few months because I know that I'll have the same kind of reading mood for the next few months also and it might happen again. So if a book is not interesting me while I'm reading it, I usually temporarily DNF it and try to pick it up later a few months after because that has worked always for me. So I'll probably do that. Question number 3. The end of the year is coming and you're behind on your reading challenge. Do you try to catch up? And if so, how? I've been doing the Goodreads reading challenge for the past 3 to 4 years and I've not missed completing the challenge in the past 4 years I think. And if there's a case in which I'm falling behind and I just want to finish the challenge, I'll choose to finish the challenge, and how I'll finish the challenge is by reading graphic novels, manga and all such other things because they take a lot less time for me to read and they are also even more enjoyable compared to traditional novels and full-length books. I'm also a person who does not mind the length of a book at all. Even if it is a 1-page book, it is a book, and even if it is a 10,000 page book, it's a single book. So the page count doesn't matter for me, so I'll just go forward and read some short books also, and that's probably how I'll manage to finish my reading goal. Question number 4. The covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? For this, I'll usually go for the audiobooks and just listen to the entire series on audiobooks itself. And I'm also kind of an organization freak, so I want all the books inside the series to match in some way or the other. If they have totally unrelated covers, for example like The Diviners, I'll definitely not purchase the physical books at all because I know that if I keep them on my shelf, it will completely keep nagging me somewhere in my mind. The main thing about reading a series is that I just want to finish it and see what are all the things that are happening in there. It can be done in any format. It's not always necessary for me to have a physical copy of the series in order to enjoy it and be a fan of it. So I'll just probably listen to the audiobooks and complete the series and still be a fan even if I don't have the physical copies. Question number 5. Everyone and their mother loves a book that you do not. Who do you bond with over your shared feelings? I cannot say whom I'll bond over with my shared feelings because I don't have that many people in my vicinity itself in real life that I can interact with and share my opinions on books whether I like them or not. That's the main reason why I started doing videos also. And ever since I started publishing new videos, whether I like a book or don't like a book, I've always found a group of people who like it or don't like it also. For example, when I started doing my Shadowhunter Chronicles playlist, I found a lot of ardent fans of the series who helped me get through it and also shared their love with me for the series, and we just enjoyed doing that entire playlist itself. And that's the main reason why I did over 20 videos for that single playlist itself. And even today I have a lot of comments from many different people who also love the series just as much as I do. There's this another book, The Night Circus, which I had very high expectations for but I did not like at all. I just did a video respectfully talking about what are the things that I did not like about that book, and many people bonded with me over that also. I don't mind whether many people like a book or don't. If I do not like it, I just tell my honest opinion out loud in a respectful manner, and that's how I usually deal with it. Question number 6. You're reading a book in public and you're about to start crying. How do you deal? The easiest answer for this one is that I don't cry easily at all, okay? Even when I'm reading books and I feel a lot about it, I don't end up crying like people usually do. When I say that I cried while reading this book, I mean that my eyes welled up and I just had some tears in my eyes. They don't even come out of my eyes. That's the amount of emotions that I express even when I feel a lot of sorrow as well as happiness while I'm reading a book. I have felt tears in my eyes many times while I've read many of my favorite books, and that doesn't mean that I cry at all. And even if I feel like that in public places, it doesn't matter because I wear glasses and most people will not be able to see what's going on in my eyes even if they tear up. So it's not a big deal for me. Question number 7. The sequel to a book you loved just came out, but you've forgotten a lot of what happens. are you going to reread it? Usually if I'm planning to read a sequel inside a series, I plan to reread the entire series beforehand itself, and if I don't have enough time, I just go forward online and look up for summaries which are as much detailed as they can be. And even if I cannot find very detailed summaries, I usually look up multiple summaries and try to remember the gist of the entire story as a whole. Usually I do end up rereading the books that I plan to reread, but because of some reason, if I don't have enough time, I just go forward and read the summaries, and usually that's enough to trigger my memory of the series easily. Question number 8. You do not want anyone to borrow your books. How do you politely say no when someone asks? The answer for this one is very simple for me, because I don't let anyone borrow my books at all except my brother, because I know that he knows how much I care about the books and how well I take care of them. I don't trust anyone at all with some of the belongings in my life, and books are definitely a part of them. Anyone who knows me knows that I don't lend out my book because I don't trust people with them at all. Even with my parents, I will not trust them and give my books to them to read, because I know that they'll not be as much careful as I am. But my brother will be, so he's the only person whom I lend my books to, and if anyone asks me, I'll just politely say no and that I don't share my books with anyone at all. Question number 9. You have picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over this reading slump? There are 3 things which I usually do. Of these, the first one is to go back and reread some of my favorite books, okay? That usually helps me and makes me want to read a lot more books, because I know that I love that book already because I've read it before and loved it during that time itself. Sometimes even rereads don't work because they might have become favorites because of multiple other external factors also. So what I try to do is I don't read physical books at all. I just go forward and listen to the audiobooks alone, and most of the times that helps for me. Even after that, if I don't feel like reading at all, I just take a week's break and after that try to read, because sometimes we just get burnt out and we don't have the willpower in order to continue reading the books even though we want and love to read them very much. So that's basically how I deal with reading slumps and get back to reading even if I don't feel like reading for a long time. Question number 10. There are so many books coming out that you are dying to read. How many do you end up buying? I usually end up just buying 2 to 3 books if I'm expecting a lot of new releases, and usually I don't also get to buy the new releases by the time they come out, because most of the books that I read are hugely published in the US and UK, because publishing is bigger there compared to here, and it usually takes around a month for the same books to get released here after they are released in the US and UK. So by that time usually the heat just goes off and they just become a little backdated books. And I'm also not a person who buys all the books during the time they are released itself, because usually the prices are very high when they are released. But as the months pass on, the prices just come down to a normal range, and that's usually when I buy those books. But if I feel like I need that book right now, it's usually just 2 or 3 and not more than that. Finally, question number 11. After you purchase all these books that you are dying to read, how long do they sit on your shelves before you get to them? This is the staple answer for every bookworm, I'm sure about that, and it is usually 3 to 4 months for me, because every time I buy new books, there are at least like 80 to 100 books on my physical TBR for the past 1 to 2 years, and I've never felt guilty about it because I do like to have a huge variety from which I can pick and read continuously. Even recently during the Prime Day sale, I bought 15 books even though I had almost 100 books on my shelves, so that's not a big deal for me. But usually when I buy new books, they sit on my shelf for 3 to 4 months, and only after that I go forward and pick them. So yes guys, those are all my answers for the questions in the book reader problems tag. I left all the questions in the description, so don't forget to leave your answers in the comments below, because I'd like to know your answers for the questions. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.